The audio. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wake Up Missoula. My name is Noelle McFoy.
And I'm Scott Ramf.
And it's Friday. And as you can see, we're both really glad it's Friday. We're both, it's kind of...
It's one of those days.
It's one of those days, you guys.
It's
one of those days.
It's another great day, and you can expect some interesting weather happening.
Good.
Of course, your Saturday is going to be mostly sunny, so you can expect at least a weekend or part of the weekend to be fairly well. So it is currently 34 degrees outside, and you have a high of 37 that's happening today, but of course you have a 70% chance of snow, which is good if you are a skier or snowboarder. Do we have any snow?
Yeah, we've got a ton of snow, you guys, yeah. So if we take a look at our ski report, Whitefish just got 6 new inches. Their lower base depth is 27 inches. Their upper base depth is 116. Blacktail Mountain just got 3 inches. Looks like Snowbowl got 0 new inches. Lost Trails just got 0 new inches, and Discovery got 0 new inches too. So it looks like all the skiing, all the great skiing and the snow is up in Whitefish and Blacktail.
Of course, and where can people find more information?
People can find more information on the snow and then /Montana.
Cool.
Just type in Montana. Yeah, it's a really good website. Yeah, but you guys, we have a guest today. We have Asia here, and she's an artist, and she's going to be talking about her artwork and her ideas and her process.
Cool.
Yeah, so we'll talk to her later in the show.
Yep.
But first,
we have, let's do some social networking.
Yeah, that sounds
if you want to
good.
find out more information about Wake Up Missoula, you can log on to our website, wakeupmissoula.wix.com/wakeupmissoula. You can, so nice we made you spell it out twice, and I'm also really cheap to buy wakeupmissoula.com. But also, of course, we have our own Facebook page. Isn't that nice? We can also
really
go to
nice.
our Twitter page, @WakeUpMissoula.
you can like Missoula Community Access Television on Twitter @MCATTV Missoula. And you can like us on Facebook. And to find out more information about us, just check us out on MCAT.org.
And of course, tomorrow is our Saturday drop-in. So we do every Saturday from 1 to 5 for kids aged 9 to 13.
Yes.
We offer a stop animation production type facility where we just, we have kids come in and we make a stop animated video.
Yeah, and then if they get burnt out, because stop animation is very tedious and time consuming, we switch to live action and make some silly videos and then just hang out. We have a great time. Do some art. Yeah, it's good. It's well-rounded. Education and entertainment.
And it's all for $10 for 4 hours.
$10 for 4 hours or $5 for 2 hours. Like, that's a screaming deal. You can't even get your babysitter to babysit for that cheap. Yeah.
Maybe $10 an hour, and if they're like a 12-year-old teenagers.
Yeah, right? Maybe if they're like, 14. Like those hardcore babysitters really charge a lot.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. We only charge $10.
And of course, there's no brand.
No brand new programming, you guys.
Yes.
It's Friday.
No, it's
TGIF.
no excuse. I'm just like, I'm pretty much like checked out. I'm just like, see you later.
I'm checked out too. I have all weekend off. I haven't I haven't had 2 days off or a day off since December. And all of my best friends, except for one of them, are in town. So I'm just like, bye everyone, I'm done.
So are you guys gonna go somewhere?
No, we're just gonna stick around. We're just gonna have house parties and stay in Missoula and, go to dinner and brunch and do whatever. I'm excited. Yeah, it's gonna be great. I don't have days off. So when I get days off, I'm like, oh my God, what is this? What just happened? Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, well, I can talk about what is on tonight on MCAT. Just
great.
like a little bit. There's the Fusion concert that's happening, and that's like a mixture of music and just all sorts of different types of music from the university's music department. And that program will be playing tonight at 7 p.m., followed by ASAP Cafe. ASAP hosts a show called ASAP Cafe, where he invites guests from the community to come on down and hang out while he just plays piano. I was on his show the other day.
Nice. ASAP, what episode is this?
Huh?
What episode is this that's going to be on tonight?
It'll be season 5, episode 30.
Who was on it?
Well, Scott was on. I did 2. Scott was on the second one, episode 31, and Sean was on the first one.
Great.
Sean Davis.
So this will have Sean Davis on it.
I thought it was really funny because when I was on it, like Sean was like sitting right next to me. He was like on his phone the whole time.
Yeah.
I was like,
Well, that's
and
what
like,
makes
and then
it funny,
he would like chime in once in a while. It's like, well, this one church is in this one place. It's like, where is it? California. Well, that's like a drop in a bucket.
Yeah, like, what are you talking about, Sean?
And of course, the ever ongoing Wilderness Issues lecture series, one of our longest running series, is on tonight at 9:30 p.m. on
Yes.
MCAT. Of course, you can always go online to our website, mcat.org, and actually click on these links from our video on demand. So you click on one of our channels at mcat.org, and you can find it right here.
That's great. And you can watch everything. Even if something isn't airing at that time, if it's got the green little play arrow next to it, you can watch it right then and there. You don't have to wait until 10 o'clock to watch what you want to.
Yep.
It's kind of nice. It's like a YouTube, also live.
Yep. And we have our guest today.
Yeah.
She has a video that our very own Rick Phillips did. We usually don't get any artists.
No.
We haven't, like, the timing has just kind of been off, getting the artists show up during the time when their video is playing at the art gallery.
Yeah, and so we've been showing these videos, and I wandered into the Gallery of Visual Arts at the Social Science Building the other day and was able to talk to the artist of this awesome show, and she's on today.
What?
So here
That's
is her
insane.
artwork, and you guys are going to get to hear what her process was like. We'll be right back after this.
Hey guys, we're back.
Yes, we're here with Asia Mujinga Sherrard, and she's the artist of that awesome video that you guys just saw. And so what is your art show called?
It was called Is Repair.
Okay.
And Is Repair was the title of that piece you saw with all of the tiles and with the washing, and it became the title of the show as well.
Awesome. And so what can you tell us about your art show? What's it about?
So this show is about grief, and it's about loss and grieving. It started off as a sort of narrative piece. I realized while I was grieving the loss of my father this past year that I was in this habit of washing. I was sort of compulsively doing dishes. And there was something about that act of washing that for me felt like a small act of repair, taking something that had been dirtied or confused and turning it into something that is whole and usable and available for new use. And I realized that one of the reasons I was compulsively doing dishes is that I was really looking for ways to repair the sorrow there in some small metaphoric way. There's obviously a lot of links to washing and caregiving, and you can find references to that kind of across our culture. But one of the fun things I found is that while I was washing for my own sake, I was making room for other people to contribute their own sorrows too. I was doing dishes after feeding my friends, and out of my own lack of capacity, people kept showing up and asking me for advice and talking to me about their feelings, and somehow in my process of grief, I was a resource to other people and their sorrows. And so the piece became about that, about making room in your own grieving process for other people to heal too.
Usually when you think of something that you're washing, you think of something you're washing away something.
Yeah.
So from what you're telling me, from you washing dishes to find a way to reconnect with, like,
The wholeness and the purityness of like a clean slate, I guess.
Yeah, it was about making room, and it was about a clean slate, but it was also just about the action. It was about that ritual of being in a sort of state of continuous repair, and it was what I needed, I think.
Very interesting. And so when I saw your art show, I guess the thing that stuck out to me the most was the Tropic of Cancer book.
Yes, yeah.
And then the mirror with all the words on it. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, definitely. So that's the other piece, and it's sort of a companion piece to the washing. The fun thing about it, I'm not sure if you noticed, is that while I'm performing the piece, I'm reflected in the mirror, so it sort of links them visually. But it's also a very different piece, and it sort of creates a counterbalance. If the washing piece allows you to sort of process things by cleaning them and allows grief to be something that sort of dissolves and transforms, the Miller piece is really talking about how stubborn certain threads are. And it is, you probably have seen the image, it's every page from Henry Miller's Tropic of Cancer with the misogynistic language cut out and then resin cast into a mirror. The mirror is sort of an interesting object. My father found it on the side of the street in Brooklyn once, brought it home, painted it that kind of fake stone color, and then it's been part of our household for about 10 years. And I used that mirror because I was really talking about my father's attachment to Miller. It wasn't something that dragged his entire life, but in his 20s it was huge. He had Miller's face painted on the back of his jacket, he had Miller's book rammed into his pocket, and his journals sounded like Miller. He was emulating Miller's language and Miller's point of view. And so while I was mourning my father, I was looking for him, and looking for him through his library and the names that he kept mentioning. So I went and picked up Tropic of Cancer as a way to sort of reach back and get that lost connection with my father, read the books that we would have been reading together, discussing if we'd had more time. And what hit me was the misogyny, and it was really, I knew it would be there, but it was really hard to get through.
But it was. You kind of like viewed your father in a whole different light. Because, you know, I feel like we see our parents as like these like beings that are on such levels that have so much influence on us, and we see them as so like, you know, held in such high regard. So as we get older, we start to see their flaws, and it's just like, oh wait, you're like maybe a little racist, or you're a little sexist, or misogynistic, and you know, it's hard to take in.
It is. I mean, I got really lucky with my father as he had a really crass sense of humor, and I got to know him really well before he was gone. I helped clean out part of his studio, and I realized, you know, this is the moment children are afraid of, as you walk into someone's private space, a space that wasn't part of you, and you find these awful secrets. And I didn't. Everything that was there, you know, the cigarette butt and whatever, they were all things I knew about. They were all parts he had already shared with me. But this was a level of intensity that was disruptive. And I think it became symbolic, and the reason I made work from it, merging Miller's language with my father's handwriting from his journals in this mirror, is because I think it was a little larger than me. It wasn't just about me reconciling how can somebody who admires Miller have a daughter. How can somebody who admires and replicates this language then have a relationship with his girl child? It was also about how deeply entrenched conversations about gender are in foundational relationships. Is unlike race, which is usually outside of the home, gender politics really, they're pre-conscious. They're the earliest relationships we have, and I think that's why it's so often so difficult to talk about, is that there's a level of intimacy to gender politics. So I was talking about my relationship with my father, but I think I made available a conversation about how primary some of these conversations we have are, and why it's such a difficult political ground.
And you also invited other people to do some writings and post on your wall to write.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, definitely. So that's going back to the Is Repair piece. It was definitely an open cycle. And like I talked about, my gestures of self-repair also made room for others. And so this was a live collaborative performance. I would go into the gallery for an hour every day that the gallery was open and wash tiles. And then I'd put the clean ones on the other side of the wall, and people would take those clean ones and write new narratives on them and put them back. The narratives were anonymous. I mean, people could sign them if they wanted to, but there was sort of an anonymity of participating. And unless someone had told me the story before or specifically indicated which tile was theirs, I had no ability to connect it to the person. And I had a very specific role, which is I take this sorrow and I absorb it and then I wash it. And I make room for somebody else to process that. And I think it was about an absolution and a repair, but it was also about creating room. And I think really not only using my own process of mourning to open space for others, but also using that process of mourning to open new spaces. Yes, this has hurt you, this is sorrowful, and now I can allow somebody else to use that same experience to heal. And it kind of kept that open.
I love that. And then can you tell us about your one last piece, the huge piece of the huge sheet that held all the names on it.
Oh yeah, that was sort of an interesting piece too. It's a live piece, so it's going to keep expanding. It's definitely sort of in transition now, and it's its earliest stage. But I realize I'm really interested in names and the object of a name and how sort of simple it is and how much it unpacks. I was thinking about self and community and who you know and how you attach to those people, how isolated you can feel in grief and how many people are part of your life. This is sort of a maturing of an older piece in which I printed a piece of fabric with the names of everyone I knew and who knew me and sewed into a business suit. And there I was sort of poking fun at the idea that one can be self-made, right? So we have so many people who shape us, either moving us forward or holding us back, but everything that we do is really communal, more than individual, if you start thinking about the mass of people. And that was kind of a more pointed, almost more political statement. This was more emotional. That fabric existed, but it lacked something tangible. There wasn't enough time. Each name had been typed and printed rather than stitched. And so there's something about stitching and giving it that slow amount of time and really spending 20, 30 minutes with each name that was really appealing. And I wanted to think about names, and I wanted to think about communities, to think about knowing and to think about connectivity, and really give it that sort of ritual of giving it body.
Awesome.
Well,
Great.
thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been really exciting.
Yeah, it's been really inspiring. I mean, I just loved your show. It really
Thank you so
resonated
much.
with me, and so to hear about your process is awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So your show was at the Gallery of the Visual Arts.
It was at the Gallery of Visual Arts. It's coming down today, so just the timing was a little off. But I was really lucky to work with the Gallery of Visual Arts. They're great. Catherine Mallory's a genius. And I actually shared the gallery with Tressa Jones and Kate Lund, and their show was really exciting and really cohesive. If anybody got a chance to go, you'll probably find that there were visual elements that really drew you through the entire show. So I was lucky to share the space with them.
Where can people find information about you?
They can find information about me on my website, actually, because I'm a professional artist with a website. It's myfullname.com. So that's asiamujingasherard.com. And I'm sure my name is
And we'll
gonna
have
be
a link
on
in the description on our interview.
There we go. Yeah, so I can
Yeah.
definitely do that. And obviously, the School of Art has a little page on me, but my website's the best place to go in terms of figuring out what I've been doing, what I might do next. There's a news section. So if you're interested in seeing my art again, that's the best place to find out when it's showing.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Asia.
so much. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
We'll be right back after this, you guys.
Yeah, of course, many of those art installations that are happening all over town will be closing this week
Yeah.
or today. That was at
Yeah.
the Clay Studio, and its last day is tomorrow, so they'll probably be taking it down partly tonight and tomorrow. So today is your last chance to go to the Clay Studio or the Gallery of the Visual Arts to see all sorts of great art that's impacting our community today.
Yeah.
But
Get
of
down
course,
there, everyone. But it's nice.
Speaking of impact,
Well, it's nice.
speaking-
I just want to make a comment. It's nice because we never have artists on our show.
We
So
have
that
in the
was-
past, but we haven't
have
had
in the
anything that has been highlighted from the visual art or the
as
visual art
deep.
museum.
I just love that. I'm just so pleased with that. That was great. Yeah. But speaking of
Impact in Missoula.
impact,
We have events.
Yes, we do. We do. There's lots of stuff going on. I don't know. It's just like the normal things that are happening in Missoula.
Hey, well, no
pretty
one
much.
does that. I'm gonna get my drink on.
Oh, weird, Scott. So while I do this, we can just you just go right to my own camera.
Can I get going to camera?
Yes. Oh my God. Scott, what are you drinking? Oh my God, this is the biggest kombucha bottle ever.
Are you crazy? I don't drink kombucha.
Scott, are you so excited? Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't drink kombucha at all.
I hate kombucha. Oh, let's see. Oh, is it fizzing?
Nope. It's all good.
Way to go, Scott. Scott's got his massive bottle of kombucha.
Well, you can share some of that if you want.
I'm out of tea today, which I'm very sad of because I ran out of tea, and I hate running out of tea. Okay, so we'll just go to some events. So over at the Missoula Public Library, starting at 10:30 a.m., we've got our kids' activities. We have got Tiny Tales. This is so babies ages birth through 3 years are invited to sing songs and learn finger plays and nursery rhymes and hear stories. And then also at the Missoula Public Library, we have Family Story Time at 10:30. This is a theme story time on the Dragon Rug, which includes songs and art activity. Preschool playgroup is at Roots Acro Sports Center at 11. This ages walking to 5 years. They set up different activities and stations around the gym. Parents and children get to rotate and choose what they want to do. Over at Spectrum Discovery area, the Discovery Bench is Nano Days. Brain Lab is Brain Dissection. Then at the Children's Museum of Missoula, we have Shaving Cream Art at 11. Also at 11 over at Natural Grocers, they're doing a couple of some egg events. So they're doing a healthy Easter egg hunt with egg-citing activities and prizes. And they're also just going to be talking about how great eggs are. Also at noon over at the Missoula Public Library is Yarns. It's where we've got our Knitters and Crocheters Club. They meet for 1 hour and they knit and crochet and they eat lunch and they gossip. Also at noon at the Missoula Public Library is watercolor painting for all skill levels with our homeboy Rob P. part of the Witness Protection Program. He features an individual approach for skill and a group focus for subject and compositional techniques. And then we're back at Natural Grocers at 1 p.m. They are talking about how great eggs are and how nutrition-packed eggs can be and how that you can add an egg into any meal and it'll just be perfect for you. Packed with lots of nutrition. At 3:30 at the Missoula Public Library, we've got Teen Writers Group. And then at 4 p.m. over the MCT Center for the Performing Arts, they've got Agrotainment 2016. So what it's about, if you guys haven't seen Night at the Museum, that's got Ben Stiller in it, and it's about this museum that has a curse or I guess like a spell, and it comes to life at night. So that's kind of what this is like. When night falls at the museum, magic spreads throughout the galleries and brings each museum inhabitants to life. Hang on one sec. Through dance and theater and acro yoga and acrobatics, they will be presenting this.
Oh, I was just thinking that the Ben Stiller movie, and it's just like I wonder how they pitched that movie. I wonder if Ben Stiller's like sitting there. It's like, well, art really comes alive here, and it's like Ben Stiller's like maybe art can literally come alive.
Oh.
And then that's where they made the Night at the Museum 3 times.
Yeah, they totally did. I think you're right.
It's like the pitches are like ridiculous.
Yeah.
I can just imagine the pitch meeting. It's like, is that all the pitch? It's like, yeah. And funny things happen, and there's a monkey that slaps me. Yes.
We'll do it, Ben Stiller. We love you. So that starts at 4 p.m. today, and then also again at 7. So you got 2 showings. At 4:30 over at the Barn Movement Studios, Ula, costs $4 to drop in. And then over to Imagination Brewing Company, they always have a lot of really, really cool events going on and discussions and lectures, and they just use their space and out themselves as a brewery for a great event center. So tonight at 6 p.m., they've got Montana Breweries History Series. They're going to be talking about the women of Montana brewing a historical look at gender and beer. Ooh. Yeah, that should be super interesting. So that's at 6 p.m. over at Imagination Brewing Company it's on Broadway. At the Union Club at 6, we've got traditional Irish music. And then there's a Top Hat Lounge for their family-friendly Friday. They've got the Crashers, or the Cracers, I think it's the Crashers. And they're at 6, and they're Irish music as well. And then over at the Roxy Theater, they've got Seppuku Cinema, which is, it's called Art House Meets Grindhouse in 1970s Japan. So Japan is notorious for really hardcore and really gory horror movies. So they're playing Lady Snowblood and Tokyo Drifter. So Lady Snowblood is about so this is set in the late 19th century Japan, charts the single-minded path of vengeance taken by a young woman whose parents were the unfortunate victims of a gang of brutal criminals. Yeah, so it's just pretty much gore and awesome action, and it's artful. And this was where Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill saga, this is where he received his inspiration from. And then the next one, Tokyo Drifter, it's a jazzy gangster film. And so, let's see, it looks like this guy is just gonna be, okay, let's see, so this guy's attempt to go straight is thwarted when his former cohorts call him back to Tokyo to help battle a rival gang. Whoa, these sound awesome. Yeah, so those are both at the Roxy Theater tonight at 7 p.m. And then we've got some music. Joan Zen is at the Union Club at 9:30. Stomp the Cat Box is at the Sunrise Saloon at 9:30. And then we've got the Dodgy Mountain Men at the Top Hat Lounge at 10. That's what's going on in your community. Up next, we're going to ASAP.
Okay. This is going to be a fun story here. We're doing a story on a man named William Harrison Withers Jr., known to the world as Bill Withers. Bill Withers is an American singer, songwriter, musician who performed and recorded from 1970 to 1985 in his heyday, you might say. Several of his songs include Lean on Me, his iconic Lean on Me, Ain't No Sunshine, oh, it's such a sad song, Just the Two of Us, my birth mom was a big fan of that particular song. Withers won 3 Grammy Awards and was nominated for 4 more, and he is the subject of a 2009 documentary called Still Bill, and he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2015, not too long ago. If we have this clip, let's catch him in action here.
Beautiful song. Well, you kind of think like most ladies over 25 really don't trust anybody, and maybe they have good reason to, because if somebody has 2 children, one male and one female, they usually say, male child, go out there and get them, but little girl, if you're 1 minute late, I'm going to kill you, So men have more license to lie, I think, that way. And then some man finds himself at an age when he's looking for something when he really means it. But everybody else has lied to this lady, so he has to say to her.
Life, and what was the inspiration for that particular song in this interview here? Basically, he's the youngest of 6 children born in a coal mining town called Slab Fork, West Virginia. At the age of 18, he enlisted in the Navy, and he serves 9 years in the Navy. He was discharged in 1965, relocates to Los Angeles to begin his musical career, and the rest is history with all those songs. At the 14th Annual Grammy Awards in '72, he won Best Award for R&B song Ain't No Sunshine. That's a beautiful song. It sold over 1 million copies, and it was awarded the platinum disc by RIAA in '71. And of course, Lean on Me, that was #1 for a whole week in 1972, and that was his 2nd gold single. And then of course, every song since then, they all became million sellers. And of course, he's appeared on Saturday Night Live in 1976, singing that iconic Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone. And other artists since him has used his music. Like in 1987, he received his 9th Grammy Award nomination. And the group Club Nouveau did their version of Lean On Me too. So that's kind of a flyover of his career, because it would be impossible to talk about everything.
Yeah.
Cool.
But a lot of people
I
have
thought,
used his music.
I read a little history synopsis about his life, and he became a singer because he just didn't want to work at the factory anymore.
Well,
He's
yeah,
like, I don't want to work in no factory, so he wrote a couple songs.
Yeah, I don't want no
big.
sticky
He
job.
was building bathrooms for airplanes. before he started singing, and then he decided that he didn't want to do that anymore.
He's like, I'm not taking this crap.
Mm-hmm.
This is a crap job.
Yeah, he was building bathrooms for airports.
Well, he's
Another
who wrote some
puns.
great music.
Yeah.
Thank the good Lord he did that.
You know, and all of his songs are hits. Like, we have classic after classic after classic with Bill Withers. So
Yeah, he's
great.
like King Midas. Everything this man touched turns to gold as far as music. So he's still
cool.
with us, and he's just left the world some great music.
Cool. Thanks, Asaph.
Sure.
Good, nice. Those musical notes with Asaph Adonai. Okay, this is what's going on in your community on Saturday. So over at Kearns Aquatic Center, they've got their snowshoe and soak. You meet there at 9 a.m. and they all load up. They're going to Quinn's Hot Springs. It's $42 and it's from 9 to 5. It's all day. So bring good hiking shoes, outdoor clothing, a lunch, a towel, everything that you need to be out in the wilderness and not have to run back to your car for. At 10 a.m. is the Missoula Winter Public Market over at the Hive. It's got all the goods that you want to buy at the farmer's market, but indoors. Over to Kearns Aquatic Center, they've got a family program. It's called Winter Shelter Building and Snow Safety. So at 10 a.m., they are going to be learning how to building snow shelters to learning snow science and avalanche basics. We don't have any more snow, but it's still good to know. $42 from 10 to 2. Over at Inner Workings Resource, located at 210 North Higgins Avenue in Suite 207, they have a self-hypnosis class. So it'll focus on the mechanics of self-hypnosis, gaining your own experience and trust with yourself, and using personal auto-suggestions to reach your goal. So 10 to 4, cost is $65. You can call 443-3439 for more information. Over at Spectrum Discovery area, the Discovery Bench is a Van de Graaff generator. Brain Lab is eye dissection, starts at 10. And then we go over to the Missoula Public Library at 10:30. They have their Saturday class, Discovering Classical Music, the Symphony. So through hearing music and through history and through lots of different discussions, they are learning about the beginnings of the symphony from the 18th century to today. So the whole, everything that you want to know about the symphony, you can learn from 10:30 to 12:30 in the large meeting room at the Missoula Public Library. Yeah, from a gal that got her doctoral degree from the Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music. So she knows what she's talking about. Over at Travelers Rest State Park, they've got Trekker Kids Sounds of Nature, starts at 11. This is a series of activities and programs for kids and families that celebrate the outdoors of western Montana. Over at the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, located at 5705 Grant Creek Road, they've got a kids event. You can learn about animals, play games, use laser shot, and explore their visitor center from 11 to 1. Over at Franklin Park, there's a community Easter egg hunt starting at 11 for kids 0 to 10. Bring your own basket. You can donate. You can face paint, play games, relay races, popcorn, prizes. Yeah, and the main event, an Easter egg hunt. Over to Kearns Aquatic Center at 11, they have an underwater Easter egg hunt. This is for ages 3 and up, and bring your little bathing suit by and go swim around and find some eggs. Sounds great. Over at the University of Montana and the University Center Atrium, they have got a fundraising extravaganza. It's called It's Showtime, and this is supporting the dance group It's Showtime. They are traveling down to Arizona as well as another state to compete in a dance competition. So they have free performances at 12 and 2, and then there are over 30 vendors and craft tables to shop from. You support local business, so proceeds go back to the local businesses as well as to help It's Showtime get down to these dance competitions. Yeah. Over at Free Cycles at noon tomorrow, they've got a bicycle jousting tournament.
That doesn't sound dangerous.
I know. $5 entry fee for all participants. All proceeds go back to Free Cycles. Wear your helmet. There is this thing called Art on the Edge. This is at 1 p.m. It's at River Edge Resort. Resort? I don't know what that means. But so this is an art auction to benefit the Peak Foundation. So this is art from local and regionally renowned artists. Prices range from $50 to $8,000. Tickets will be sold at the door for a spaghetti lunch, $4. You can peruse the art, purchase some new decor for your home while supporting a nonprofit organization dedicated to bringing community events to residents of all ages. Art on the Edge. Cool. Starts at 1. This next one is pretty cool. Over at the Downtown Dance Collective, they've got a classical Indian dance. So this is an introduction to Odissi, which is the mother of all classical dances of India. So it's 2 one-hour dance classes, one at 1 and one at 2. The dances will vary in the 2 classes, so you're welcome to sign up for both. Each class is $10 and starts at 1 and 2 tomorrow. You can call 541-7240 for more information about that. Over at the Missoula Public Library, they've got an animal communication class. It's about the afterlife and pet grief. So animal communicator Janet Roper shares her experiences and stories in this area and how animal communication has been able to bring peace to those that were grieving the loss of their beloved pets. Over at the Missoula Public Library, over at the Missoula Art Museum, they have an open figure drawing at 3 p.m. It's $8 for members, $10 for non-members. You have to be 18 and older since the model they use is nude. And so they've got some supplies, but you should probably bring your own if you want to. That starts at 3 tomorrow. And then Acrotainment is at the MCT for Center of Performing Arts. It's at 4. And then there is a 4th annual mini benefit show for the Zootown Arts Community Center. This can be at the Wilma at 5:30 tomorrow. And so the gala it's celebrating all things mini. So they've got an array of artists that made many things. So they'll be showing the art as well as they're going to be eating. And it's a fundraiser for the ZAC. Yeah, so a catered dinner, live music, presentations by the ZAC, not to mention a silent and live auction. Pretty cool. Starts at 5:30. And we've got some music and some movies for tomorrow night. Starting at 6 over at Missoula Brewing Company is River City Players. They are the newest and only traditional New Orleans jazz band. John Florida's Trio is at the Montana Distillery at 6. They've got Imagination Brewing Company has got Go-Go Motion at 6. There is Community Swing Dance over at Martha Jane's Uptown Dance at 6:30 for $7. Movie Mockers at the Roxy Theater. They're showing the movie Anaconda, which Jennifer Lopez and Ice Cube are in. Which
it's really good, and John Voight.
Yeah, and John Voight, which sound hilarious. Yeah. And then they've got a movie cult. They're showing Ferris Bueller's Day Off at 9 at the Roxy. And then we've got a couple music things going on. Absolutely with Chris Moon at the Badlander at 9. Josh Farmer Band at the Union Club at 9:30. And then Magic Beans and the Kitchen Dwellers at the Top Hat Lounge at 10. And they're bluegrass, of course. So check out MissoulaEvents.net, University of Montana, The Independent, and the Missoulian for all of your events going on in your community.
Yep. And now it's time for some city council.
Woohoo!
So the other day I was watching some city council, and it was the land use and planning meeting that they did. You can watch any of these meetings online if you go to www.ci.missoula.mt.us, or you can just Google City of Missoula and go to the website. It's easy to find if you look for it. So the Missoula Mercury is up for discussion for the design and look of the corner of Higgins and Main. So they're going to figure out what they want it to look like that best represents Missoula. But of course, many people who were at the presentation and gave public comment were just like, not in my town. So without further ado, here is Tobias Stroll. He's the architect with Homebase, and he reflects on their motives and the history behind the old Missoula Mercantile as well. So this is, here is their architect.
It is very important to be authentic, and we don't feel that we want to create some sort of a Disney-esque, rebuild, recreation of something. But what we really are excited and interested in is capturing the soul and the spirit, and really having true elements of the building come back. The challenge with the existing brick facade, when you look at it, first of all, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of historic fabric that's missing already, that's been removed. There are items that are non-historic, having to define what period you really want to look at, given that it's, of course, evolved over many, many years.
All right, so that's what he had to say about that. And of course, our next quote is from Heidi West, and she's talking about the access and leaving the Missoula residents behind.
I can say that I wouldn't walk into places necessarily where I'm not going to be a customer or a resident. So I feel like excludes egalitarian access, I guess. So, and I think if some of these historical references could be included on an outside space, we can preserve that access.
All right. So basically what Heidi West was saying is like, we were going to build a hotel, but it's not going to be for Missoula. It's going to be for tourists, basically. That's basically what she's kind of worried about, is like, if we're going to be building. And so, of course, this is their response to Heidi. This is Tobias once again.
One thing that we've learned recently, we've worked, opened about 2 years ago, renovation of historic Union Station in downtown Denver, which has kind of a concept of, there are 10 retail outlets and there's a large common space which has multiple function as part of the hotel lobby and other aspects of it, and it's actually been hugely accepted. And when you go into that space in the morning, or any time of day really, but if you usually, I'll grab a cup of coffee there because our offices are right downtown across the street from that location. You'll see people from all walks of life in that space. It's very, it becomes, as Nicole mentioned, the idea is this is the living room of the city. People embrace it. It's their building, and that would be a very, very important aspect to us. And I think that.
All right. So that's.
But isn't that what the break is?
Argument.
Isn't that like what the Break Espresso does? Isn't that like the living room of the city? And Charlie B's?
In a way.
We already have that.
Yeah. All right. So basically, the new Marriott Hotel would take an element similar to the Florence Hotel, but reflects more of the Holiday Inn, kind of like what they do with the Brooks and Brown. Because the Brooks and Browns is more like, it's a public thing. It's more for getting people to go there, just hang out at the bar and whatnot. So they can try to do that with this Marriott, not just have a hotel. Yes, there's hotels on the second and up floors and maybe a couple other offices, but that's their ideal plan and whatnot. And this is what Marilyn Marler had to say about this, the designs and what the look and what she thinks about it.
If you don't want to build a Disneyland, but you want to do something that's unique because you have skill and talent and different things are beautiful to different people. But I'm hearing even from architects in town that they would like to see some preservation of this. So there's something about this building that's really important to a lot of people. And I just think it would, I think that there's a lot of interest in seeing how your design develops in that way. I love the things that you're showing for the inside of the building, but I feel like it would be nice to see some of that also reflected on the outside.
All right. So, if you guys can watch the meeting, you can kind of see, because they get the whole presentation of what the building's going to look like. And not too many people are kind of like thrilled, and it doesn't really match the downtown area, but of course this is just the early design phases. So one of the biggest arguments is that if they are going to rebuild that on that site, they want it to reflect what Missoula is and what Missoula was. That's kind of what Missoula is kind of all about. So the next quote is, we have it from Andy Holloran. He doesn't go by Andrew, he goes by Andy. And he's from Homebase, and he's the place based out of Bozeman, which is basically spearheading this project. And he's going to comment as well as response to Marilyn Marler.
We have heard that loud and clear. It hasn't been a lot of fun the last month, I can tell you. But I hope you can appreciate our approach, which is factual, unemotional, collaborative, listening, and we are committed. We want to be welcome. We want this project to be something that we can all be proud of, and we're committed to that.
All right, so that was Andy Holloran from Homebase.
Well, you should build something else than a Marriott, huh? How about that, Andy?
Yeah. Okay, so they open the floor to public comment.
Great.
So this is the next three clips are all public comment. I'm going to play them back to back to back, and then we're going to have a little discussion and hopefully have enough time for Flagship Friday. So the first one is Marvi Redman, and this is what she had to say about this.
I'm really pleased to see the interior ideas about this building, but really I'm here to speak to beauty and soul. And I think the current design, the one I'm looking at here, has neither. If I could have my way, I'd have the old Merc refurbished, something in it. And I have seen Paradigm Architects designed by Carl Postwitz, is that his name, with an ice skating rink in the Merc. and I see that that probably would not fly, but his exterior design is in keeping with the MRC, the current MRC. And when you say land use, maintain character, and preserve history, I see that the Muse would preserve history, but maintain character. There is nothing there that I see that maintains any character. It looks like, I mean, I want to say that I appreciate the work that has gone into this, but when you talk about Disney-esque, what does that really mean?
All right.
Yeah.
So then that's what she had to say about that. Our next quote is by Jeff Stevens, and he's been an opponent to this whole process since the beginning.
Present mercantile building is torn down. What this community needs to see is a replacement building that's so exceptional, so extraordinary, that 100 years from now, when some other developer comes along and proposes tearing this down, the city of Missoula will rise up and say, no, this is part of our historic heritage. It's a beautiful building. We don't want to see it destroyed. If it can elicit that kind of passion 100 years from now that the present mercantile building is eliciting now, then they will have created something worthy. But I don't see that here.
All right, so, and that's what he had to say about the design of this new Merc. And of course, our very last quote is from Solomon Martin, who has a lot to say about this as well.
I'd like to address an issue that is very important to the Historic Preservation Commission, and that is the general misconception that historic preservation and progress and development are at odds, that advocating for keeping character and uniqueness of our old buildings somehow stifles progress and drags down our economy. That simply isn't true. The preservation community prides itself in being a bridge to the future while looking to our past for inspiration. Whether it be innovative building designs, creative adaptive reuse, or simply advocating for continued lifespans of old buildings, preservation brings vitality and attractiveness to communities. That in itself is an economic engine and an attraction for tourists and shoppers. I think that the city of Missoula is being presented with a false dichotomy when it comes to the Missoula Mercantile, that we need to demolish it and replace it with a bland corporate hotel, or that it will continue to sit empty and decay. This is simply not the case. The building itself is structurally sound. Sure, it needs an interior remodel, but the prime location and the value of the property virtually guarantee that it will be redeveloped sooner than later. And I hope that you have all had a chance to read the press release sent by SGRE of Nevada. This group had plans to rehabilitate the building and would have been moving tenants in as we speak had they been allowed to purchase. I mention this because I believe there is a lot of misinformation and selective truth-telling about the circumstances of this building, and that if we were privy to the machinations behind closed doors of the owner, the development, and the mayor's office, we would be much better informed to make the right decisions. Speaking of decisions, let me share some quotes from the developer.
All right, okay, I think that kind of sums it up in a nutshell.
Very interesting, yeah.
What he feels, and that he is with the Historic Preservation Committee. He's one of their officers.
Okay,
just
cool.
to give him a little more background. And he's been speaking up as an opponent to this for a while.
Yeah, and so if you guys didn't see the shifts from home base in the background, that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. I suggest you watch the meeting, and during the public comment, just watch some of the faces of the architects and the home base representatives during the public comment, and they're just kind of like, I don't know. It's funny to watch. It's funny. That's what we were basically I already watched this meeting. I already know what they're saying, and I was just looking at now, and you just notice a lot of the nuances that are happening.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
It's very interesting how things are going at this, and it seems like the city of Missoula, as soon as something positive jumps onto something, we're just kind of we in bed. Mm-hmm. It seems like the city of Missoula has, I don't know, who in the city of Missoula actually wants this to happen. That's the thing. It's because the mayor he spoke for it. But basically, it seems like most of the city council are just kind of against it.
It sounds like a lot of the city council is against it. And everyone is kind of we don't like what it looks like on the outside. You're not going with the aesthetic of downtown Missoula. Like, we don't want it.
Yeah, I mean,
That kinda
it just goes back to the old, another bank pops up, another hotel pops up, another
We don't
this,
need it.
another
We've got the Holiday Inn, we've got the DoubleTree, we have the Thunderbird, we've got the Bel Air. We have all these hotels downtown. We already have them.
And a couple of the motels that are even downtown were converted into little tiny apartments, like lower end apartments.
Exactly. Like, we already have hotels downtown. We already have it. We don't need a giant Marriott. And that's not going to be the living room of Missoula, okay? Because we already have our coffee shops. That's the living room of Missoula.
Yeah, there's a lot of places. Like I can understand the Florence, because the Florence has a nice little living room set up in their little hotel. But
they refurbished the Florence. They repurposed the Florence. They didn't tear it down. Like,
so
if
they can do, if we can get the people who did the Florence hotel to do the Mercantile, because the Florence and the Merc were just like hand in hand, especially back in the day when the Merc was really big and strong.
I mean, I suggest that home base really take a step back from who they are as a company and maybe submerge themselves in Missoula for a month or two and see really what it's like before they start making these crass decisions that don't even fit with what Missoula's about or what we're like.
And like Andy Holleran from Home Base, and he's lives in Montana. He's from Bozeman, and he was here, and he says it's been a difficult month. Of course, it's been a difficult month because you're trying to reinvent everything.
Yeah, you want to be welcome. You're not going to be very welcome when people don't want what you have.
Yeah, and my aunt lives up in Bozeman, and she said that the city spent a lot of money on repurposing their downtown area. It's beautiful and all, but there's just no old buildings anymore.
Yeah, there's no character.
Yeah.
It looks new, and it looks new.
It looks like somebody just started a town in Bozeman.
Yeah. And like Missoula's got this wonderful, beautiful character and aesthetic, and our downtown is so cool and so fun, and it's just cool to walk around, And so if we've got some gross Marriott with a big old flashy sign, that's just gonna ruin it. It's gonna ruin the vibe. It's gonna ruin the aesthetic, and it's just gonna ruin the historical downtown. I don't know about this.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
It's interesting how the architecture just kind of changed over the years, and just the look, and nobody ever likes to go back to the old school way of the way it looked before, really nice, rich architecture and all that stuff, and a lot of the architecture that's happening in Missoula is you have the Equinox, the Solstice building, you have that new parking garage, and it's the one thing that seems to be happening in Missoula is puke green.
Yeah.
Puke green is really popular in Missoula. It's the new black.
Come on, Missoula.
Puke green is not the new black.
No. Do we have enough time for our Flagship
Yes,
Friday
we
video?
do.
Okay.
It's a 2-minute video, and it is from C.S. Porter.
Awesome.
And without further ado, here is the Flagship Friday video of the week.
Hooray!
My Magikarp was about to evolve, and then my Game Boy Advance got confiscated.
I can't stay like this forever.
Mom, stop calling me during recess! Still playing around. I have babysitting to do.
My teacher said I had a responsibility to do my homework. Yet I also had the ability to watch TV. Mom got me this instead of the iPhone. My mom got me this cheap phone instead of the Samsung Galaxy like I wanted. My girlfriend just dumped me after dating for 4 hours. Oh! My locker was jammed today. The teacher said it was my fault.
The doors are locked!
Even after recess.
Ugh, text something is not cool!
Number 8 broke up with me. Do you have any advice? No! Go away forever. Hi, my name's Alexis Starks, and that's my friend Clary Fairchild. Hi, I'm Clary. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I'm the popular one
with a boyfriend, and she's a smart one. Hey, I have a boyfriend too. Who is it then? Jake Whalen, huh? Who's that? He doesn't go to our school. Hi, my name's Magikarp. I am introducing weaknesses and strengths in Pokemon, and I'll be pretending I'm the water type. Ice types are super effective against water types. Demonstration. That's Tony. That's how he handles his breakups. Open and available. Ooh, new girlfriend! No, Tony! Too soon! Fighting types are effective against water! Up, and it was going so well. Dude, that was 5 minutes ago. Get over it. And I told you so. Okay, I'm sorry, but that's all today that we have for our middle school problems. Next week, catch Tony getting 24 girlfriends in one day. Hint, hint, he keeps only one of them. And then next week, there'll be even more Magikarp. If you keep watching, that is.
All right, so that was the Flagship Friday.
So, man, if that's like the problems that these middle schoolers have, they sound like they have a great life.
They have a great life.
Like Tony is getting 24 girlfriends in a day. Are you serious? What a guy! Wow, way to go, Tony.
Middle school relationships are just like,
they're so frivolous.
They're really frivolous.
I think the longest I dated in middle school
they care
was
more
like
about
4
the
months.
drama in the breakup than the actual relationship.
I dated someone in middle school. I think the longest was like 4 or 5 months. And then I was like, oh my God, I love you. Oh, man.
Was he tall?
No, he had a bowl cut.
Ooh. He had a bowl cut?
Yeah, and my glasses were like this big. I definitely, when I was in middle school and elementary school, I was really, so I was like the nerdy, weird girl that everyone made fun of in elementary school and middle school. I totally was. Everyone, I mean, I had friends, but like not a whole lot. People thought I was really weird and made a lot of noise.
I was the leave me alone kid.
Oh, really?
I was the kid who was just like, I did not want to deal with anybody. Because I was like, I just had a feeling that everyone was out to get me or something.
Now we're beautiful, outgoing swans.
I'm not outgoing.
Oh, I am.
Yeah. I'm just like cranky old man now.
Yes, he is. Yeah, I vouch for that.
Old man, just walking down the street.
Hey, everyone, Betty meets.
Yeah, well, guys, thanks for joining us.
Shoot.
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and go to MCAT.org. You can call us at 542-6228 or 542
MCAT
to get in contact with us.
Yeah.
But for Wake Up Missoula,
that's our show.
I'm Scott Ramp.
I'm Noel McFoy. Here's ASAP Adonai. We'll see you guys on Monday.